Welcome to the Manifest Mental Health Podcast. I'm your host, Taylor Smith, certified spiritual life coach and NLP practitioner, bringing you all things motherhood, manifestation, and mental health. This podcast is for you if you're ready to expand your consciousness and stop losing your shit. Whether you're a mom like me out here trying to break generational curses, or you just want to learn how to take better care of your mind, body, and soul, you're in the right place. It's time to break free from your depression and anxiety and start creating a reality that you don't want to escape from. Let's go manifest mental health. Hey you guys, welcome to the podcast. On this episode, I'm going to be sharing with you a story from my life that I really don't want to share. I'm like, God, can't I just tell them about you and hope that they know that you're real? But I know that He's placed this on my heart for a reason, and I know that there's some past version of myself who might still be out here doing this shit. And I just want to share my story to let you know that you can come back from anything, literally anything. So if you're seeing the title of this episode, from selling it to celibate, you might be a little curious, what is she talking about there? But there was literally a period of my life where I was a prostitute. You might not want to listen to this episode if you're my parent, or maybe if you're my new boyfriend, you don't want to listen to this episode. Maybe you wouldn't care if I was a prostitute in my Lil Wayne voice. Hopefully not. I think, yeah, he does already know, but we're going to get into the details here. So, here we go. Well, I didn't start off as a prostitute. I started off as a college dropout who my parents kicked out because they were like tired of me coming home smelling like weed, and they were like, go live anywhere but here. And so I had this friend in Jonesboro, and she let me live with her and her mom, and I was working at this steakhouse, Colton's, and I was making probably not enough to get by. I was making some shifts, I would leave there with $100, but that was like the maximum. I would really leave there with like $20 some days, and like that wasn't even enough to buy an eighth. Like, I needed to smoke. In this stage of my life, I was like 19 years old. That was my priority. And so my friend, she started dancing, and I was like, I'm not going with you. I'm too fat. I can't dance. I'm not going with you. And she was like, Taylor, wait till you see these girls here. It does not matter. It does not matter. And the little strip club that we went to, that she talked me into going with her. But we do make our own decisions. I'm not trying to blame anyone else for my life choices. The little strip club that we worked at was like this hole in the wall. It was kind of like a skanky place, honestly, which was like good. I was hoping that my parents wouldn't find out. And also good because, like, when you're a stripper, all the other strippers are competition for you. And we felt like we didn't really have that much competition because they didn't have all their teeth and things like that. Things like that. First of all, let me tell you, I was very fucked up every time I went. I would take 3 Xanaxes and drink on the way there. So I was out my mind. Like, I knew what I was about to do. I knew I was about to get naked in front of people and hope they gave me some money. But I was fucked up. Like, there was literally this one time that I fell off the stage onto a customer and got fired from being a stripper for a couple weeks. They did let us come back. But yeah, I was fucked up every time I went. Because even though, like, I knew what I was doing, I didn't feel good about what I was doing. All right, but yeah, in the strip club, you would get on the stage, you would like pick a song. I would always pick Bands That Make Her Dance or I'm in Love with the Stripper by T-Pain. Those were my go-to songs. And you have to get like half naked on the stage at least. But then in the back, you could sell lap dances, and it would be like $50 nude for one song or $30 topless for one song. And so whenever we would get in the back, people would offer you money to do more stuff. And like, I'm already fucked up. I'm not making the best decisions. And it's like, you know, if the price was right. I should also mention that sex didn't have much value to me. It didn't mean anything to me because I lost my virginity when I was like 16, 17 to somebody that I wasn't even dating. I wanted them to be my boyfriend, but they didn't want to be with me. And like, ever since then, I had used sex as like something to validate me for that moment, those 5 minutes, however many minutes. I would sleep with a bunch of cute guys because I would think it would make me feel good about myself, but it didn't. It always left me feeling super empty, especially when these people didn't want to be with me. And then I had this ex-boyfriend who I did love, and like I started to associate sex with love during that stage of my life, but then like he would cheat on me. And so it was like sex really didn't mean anything at that point. Like, and I would go and like sleep with people to try and make him feel the way that he made me feel. And I'm talking about, I made a list in jail one time. I'm not going to share the number on there because of the whole new boyfriend thing, but it was up there. It was up there. And the thing about it was I always left feeling not good about myself. Like, I may talk about it to my friends and be like, look at this really cute guy that I hooked up with. And then for just a few minutes feel good about it. But whenever he wasn't texting me and checking in on me, like, I felt used. Yeah. So sex didn't really have that much value to me. And so when people would offer me money in the back to do stuff, I would do it. Like, I mean, we already were getting $50 to get naked. So, and basically just dry humping these people. And it wasn't like I ever just like had full on sex back there, but there would be like men from the club who would offer me like $500 to go home with them for the night. And like, little unhealed Taylor, can I just say right now, like, my pussy is priceless now. Like, would never do any type of this shit anymore. I'm gonna say pussy a lot in this episode, so like I said, if you're my parents, you probably don't want to listen, but it doesn't feel aligned to call it vagina or something like that. I was out here selling vagina. It doesn't sound real. So yeah, when they would offer me money to go home with them, it was like, almost like I was finally getting something out of having sex with these people. Up until that point, I had been having sex with people for free and feeling like shit later. At least I could have sex with these people and go buy a bunch of weed and feel good for a few days after that. Yeah, that was my priority then. It was like I would go buy these different ounces of weed, like, and I would just be like, feel like I had the prettiest weed and not really give too much thought about like what I was doing for this money. But you know that song where it's like, I don't know what the fuck wrong with these strippers. They don't have a house and don't have a vehicle. Like, I had this little beat up car and I would drive it to the club and never even cared about getting better things for myself. It was always just about escaping my reality. For a long, long time of my life, I was just like, what kind of weed can I buy? And yeah. So I didn't ever really try to accumulate wealth like I could have. Like, I would make $1,000 one night and then I didn't like to do the shit. So I would put it off as long as possible. I would wait until I had like $50 left to my name, just enough for like gas and for whatever I needed to turn up to get into the club and like feel okay about these fucked up decisions I was about to make. I would wait until then and then I would go. And that kind of sizzled out because I did get a lot of DWIs. Like, I wrecked my car on the way to the strip club one time. And this other time I got a lot of minor in possessions because I was only 19 years old. I wasn't even supposed to be in there drinking, but it was like this little hole in the wall place and they didn't have any rules. So, or they didn't apply to me if they did. But this other time on the way home from the club, my friend, her stripper name was Bree. We're just gonna call her Bree in this episode. And she, like, we had got kicked out of the club. It was the night that, like, I fell off the stage onto the customer. I was fucked up. And on our way home, we get pulled over, and the cop is like, I'm like offering the cop sexual favors to try and get out of this. And he's like, ma'am, get out of the car. And so I blew in the breathalyzer, and like they got taken to the jail. I was so fucked up. Like, I got released the next day and was driving home and got pulled over like 3 more times on the way home. Like, I was sober, so I passed the breathalyzers, but those Xanax were still in my system. And like, I literally don't even know how I made it out alive out of some of these situations in my life. And the more that I share, you're gonna be like, what? How did you make it out alive? And really, it was like, I didn't have this relationship with God back then, but he was always looking out for me, always. So yeah, this whole stripper thing kind of like sizzled out because I couldn't drive myself to the club. But I still had men like that I had met at the club. There was like this farmer who would pay me like, this one time he paid me $5,000. So I was like, what? I mean, it wasn't always that, but like, I was just saw like that I could get money out of selling my body. And it would be, I didn't like to do it. I never felt good about it, but I felt good having that much money afterwards. And I would, I don't know, turn tricks. Is that what we call it? I would turn tricks for money. And that was like how I survived. Because I told you I dropped out of college. Like, I was going to school to be a pharmacist. And like, I had a full ride scholarship. I was getting back money every semester, like $5,000 back a semester. And I just blew that shit because I was too depressed to show up and go to class and do my homework. And so I came home and I really didn't feel like I had a way to have money. I thought that I'd blown my future. And like, I was working these waitressing jobs making like $50 a shift or something, and it just wasn't cutting it for me. And I just saw this as an easy way out. But okay, when I was like 24 years old, I decided I'm gonna go try and do the stripping thing again. I'd like got to a weight where I felt comfortable. Like, let me tell you, when I was bigger, I was not doing this shit. I would turn tricks, like maybe that one farmer guy that would give me like $500 every time. I would do that. And it would be like a once a month thing. I would try and stretch that shit out because it was weird. It was a weird dynamic there. But when I was 24, like, I was messaging this guy on Facebook. He was talking about that he had these girls and he was taking them to Atlanta to strip at the clubs there. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go. I don't know if it was like a manic episode, but there were just these periods of my life where I absolutely did not give a fuck. And this was one of those periods. So I went to the Atlanta with this random guy off of my Facebook. And like, when we got there, one of the clubs that we were supposed to go to was closed or something. I don't know. It may have just been like a ruse to get me in the car and like get me down there with them. But he set up back pages for us. Like, Backpage is this place on the internet where you can, like, I don't even know. They probably shut this shit down. I hope they shut this shit down. But like, he made these pages for us, and it was like selling quick visits. It was just like, they finish and then they pay you, or they pay you first and then they finish and then they're gone. And he put my price on there was like $300. But after, like, they would come, the guys would come in there and like, he would want me to give him half the money. And I was like, you're not doing any of the work. All you did was set up this little website for me. And so I like literally, whenever I put some of my Xanaxes in his drink, and whenever he passed out, I like messaged one of the tricks that I had turned and was like, can you please come get me? And so I set up my own room. Like, I left and got my own room, and I set up my own page on Backpage. Like, this guy could have really killed me because pimps, I guess this guy was a pimp. He wasn't very good at it. Or I just wasn't a hoe. Like, I was selling pussy, but I was like, I don't need a pimp to do this shit for me. Like, I got this. And I don't know, there's things that I'm scared of now, like even recording this podcast scares the shit out of me. But there's these stages in my life where I was fearless, like going to the darkest trap house in the whole fucking hood, or being in Atlanta with no supervision, no car, nothing, posting myself on Backpage and turning these tricks. And I had made like $1,000, and then this trick, like, that was like four quick visits, and I bought the hotel room. And then this guy, this trick, I met him, and he was kind of cute. He was an Asian guy, and I was like, why are you buying pussy? I told you I was going to say pussy a lot in this episode. I was like, you could probably totally go to the bar and take home a girl from there. What are you doing? He was like, I don't really know. He was like that it gave him a thrill or something. But he was like, he sold weed. He was like my type of guy that I would date back then. And he like caught feelings for me. He told me that he was going to pay me not to work anymore. So he paid me like $700 not to work, like to stop turning tricks that day. And then he took me out to eat, took me to get my nails done. And like the next day he came back and was smoking a blunt with me and brought me some food. And he was just sitting there talking to me, and he was telling me like, Taylor, you're too good for this. Like, you're gonna get hurt out here doing this shit. Like, you can't be doing this. Like, I'm gonna buy you he bought me a bus ticket and put me on a bus and sent me home. And like, he tried to stay in contact, tried to like date me after that. Like, so I know that there are some guys out there that wouldn't care if I'm a prostitute. And yeah, literally, I didn't even have a relationship with God back then. I didn't not believe in God, but I just tried not to think about it because I knew I was committing hella sins. And I just thought the concept of God was too big for me to understand. But literally, this was God protecting me, like putting me on that bus and sending me home. That wasn't even that guy. That was God told him to do that. And I truly believe this now. Because let me tell you, it happened to me again. And this is like, I chilled out on doing that because I was like, maybe I really am too good for this. Maybe I really do deserve better. But I would get broke and I would do it again. But I would start to feel bad about it then, because I was like, I knew that I was worth more, and I was still like selling my body, and I would feel bad about it. There was this time that I was like on the harder drugs then, and I was on meth. And I went with my friend, this guy that I was kind of talking to, but we went to this place in Texas, Tyler, Texas. And he like, it was like we both knew we were getting high, but he wasn't trying to be high in front of me. So he would like leave me with his family and go and sell dope and be out here. I think he was shooting up and I wasn't. And so like, he didn't want me to know that he was. And so he was leaving me at his house with his family that I didn't even know them. And so I was like, I'm just going to post myself on Backpage again. I'm just going to get me some money and go home. And I did. And literally, I started my period. And the first guy that messaged me, he was like, you're so beautiful. What are you doing on this website? And he sold weed. He was like my type of guy that I wanted to date in that point in my life. I was like, I started my period. I can't do anything with you. And he was like, but I still want to hang out with you because I think you're so beautiful. And like, I just think that we would vibe, because we had like started talking about how we smoke and all this stuff. And then, and I wanted to get out of there. I didn't know his family, like, and so I let the guy pick me up. I'm talking about, these are strangers off the fucking internet. Strangers who buy pussy off the internet. Like, they could have killed me. But literally, this guy is telling me that I'm too good for this life and that I shouldn't be posting myself on there, and is like giving me weed to smoke. And I like lost all of my stuff because it was in that guy's car. And so he took me to buy some clothes and bought me some makeup. And then I think I did hook up with him whenever I got off my period. I felt like indebted to him. This is like one of the key beliefs I had running at that time, is that I had to do things with people in order for money. Like that I had to have something to offer them. And I didn't realize like that just being myself was something to offer. Like my conversation, like there's so many things like that we don't realize that are worthy. And it's not about like receiving money for them, but just like people could genuinely want to help you. And you don't have to sleep with them in order for that to happen. Like, okay. But so he also bought me a bus ticket and sent me home and tried to stay in touch with me after that and tell me that I was too good for this life and please don't go do it again. Crazy. And this does happen in our life. Like we'll experience repeating patterns. But this was like a very specific repeating pattern where like a cute drug dealer tried to buy pussy from me on the internet and then told me that I was too good to be selling pussy. Like, what are the odds of that happening twice? And so I just started to like really sit with that. Like maybe I really am too good for this life. And like I had my friend pick me up from the bus station, and he was trying to get me to sell pussy in Memphis. And I was like, no, I'm done for a while. I'm done. I want to sit here with my feelings about this. And like I said, I didn't believe in God then, but I knew like some force out there was trying to redirect my path. And like, I started to feel like if these guys off the internet are telling me that I'm too good for this, maybe I really am. And if you're listening to this podcast and you're out here doing some shit like that, don't wait on a guy on the internet to tell you that you're too good for this. Like, let me tell you, you're too good for that. You're too good for this. But the thing is, I still had these limiting beliefs running in my mind about what I had to do in order to be worthy of people helping me, like about money being able to come to me. I had these limiting beliefs about money. So when I stopped selling pussy, I was broke. I was broke, but I felt good about it. I was like, if you want me to be broke, I didn't believe in God yet. But I was like, if I'm going to be broke, at least like I can feel good about myself knowing that I'm not out here selling my pussy anymore. I told you guys I was going to say pussy a lot. I just don't know how else to say it. But then I read this book about the law of attraction. And it made so much sense to me. Like, because whenever I was dancing, I had this other friend, Ashlyn. And this is her stripper name. And people would give her money, like, and she wouldn't do anything for it. Like, they would just give her money. And I would be thinking she was lying. I was like, no, she's just sleeping with them when I'm not around. Like, if they're giving her $1,000, like, she's doing something. She's doing something for this money. But really, the law of attraction was working for her. Like, she was magnetic. She believed in herself. She believed that she was worthy of people giving her money. And so I was reading about the law of attraction, about like how your thoughts create your reality. And I had these thoughts that I had to do something with these people in order for them to help me financially. And so that was creating my reality. It was a belief that was running, and my actions were aligning with my beliefs, because I really did think that I had to do that. And so when I read about the law of attraction, it was like, no, I'm going to think some different thoughts. I'm going to put some different beliefs up here, like that I had built the relationship with God by the time I read about the law of attraction. I was like, God could just send people that want to help me. Like, he could be proud of me that I'm changing my life, that I'm not doing drugs anymore, and he could just send people to give me money. And so maybe like a month after that, I had been writing in my journal, like, I love my new job. I'm making so much money at my job. And I was writing about like how my job is so easy and I'm getting $20 tips. I love picking these $20 tips up off the table. And I got a job where it was at this pizza place, and the business was kind of slow. So I was doing like 2 jobs. I was like the hostess and the waitress. But I was making like $12 an hour plus tips. So I would leave there, and my tips were good. Like, I lived in Marion at the time, and Marion is like this really rich people town. Like, people want their kids to go to that school district, and it's just like a bunch of rich people. And they would come in the restaurant, and it was during COVID, and like, even if like it was just a to-go order, they would be leaving me $10. I'd be like, what? This thing works. This law of attraction, it really works. I would leave there with like $200 in tips on a weekend night. It was so crazy to me, like how the old Taylor who didn't love herself would make $20 in tips, but this Taylor who like loved herself and believed in the power of the universe to deliver all her desires to her, like, was making $200 in tips plus that $12 an hour. So I was averaging like $30 an hour, which is crazy, like, cause you know, the whole dropping out of college thing. But yeah, it just blew my mind that the law of attraction works like that, and that I wasn't having to sleep with these people for money. I was literally like refilling their drinks or ringing up their order, and like, people can give you money just because you exist. Like, just because you exist. And okay, the thing that really blew my mind is that there was this man at the restaurant, and him and his family would come in there and eat every week. He was like 89 years old at the time. He's like 90 something now. But his wife had just died, and I felt really bad for this man. So like, I was building a friendship with him, and he was just like a nice old man, like really respectful. And then at Christmas time, like, it was his first Christmas without his wife, and I drew him a picture of his wife and gave it to him. And he was just talking about like how much that meant to him, and we really developed a friendship. And he literally asked me if I needed anything in my life, started to ask me if I needed money. And like crazy ass shit, like literally helped me to buy all of the coaching certifications that I've had, like thousands of dollars. And I'm not doing shit, like not even showing a titty. Like, I'm being like fully clothed, not even talking to this man dirty. It is a purely respectful relationship. But the thing is, whenever like you're trying to do something good with your life, God will send in people that will help you do that. Like, it's not even about that they're giving you the money. It's that God is sending them to give you. It's God giving you the money. And abundance is your birthright. Like, you don't have to sleep with people for money. If like, I could just get that out there. Like, I want people to know you don't gotta sleep with people for money. And you don't gotta sleep with people to feel good about yourself. Like, really, sex is a sacred thing. It's a sacred exchange of energy. And after reading about this, I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad that I stopped having sex with these random people. Because literally, when you have sex with somebody, you take on all of their energy, like their past traumas, you take on their habits. Like, there's even been studies showing that if people people have sex often enough, that they could start looking like each other. And there was a lot of people I didn't want to be looking like them. But no, really, I think a lot of the trauma that I had to heal from was from sleeping with these people, and like, it wasn't even my own shit that I was having to heal from. But those are very dark years of my life, like, because my body was taking on all of this shame every time that I would have sex with somebody and not feel good about it. Like, that was getting stored in my sacral chakra, and I've had to do a lot of work to heal that. Like, done a lot of trauma-informed yoga, a lot of like twerking, and it's not for dollar bills anymore. It's to release the trauma that I accumulated trying to get those dollar bills. But literally, yeah, the body does keep a score. There's the name of a book about it. The body keeps like a score of how you were feeling in all of these experiences where you have sex. And I think the way that you feel after sex is so much more important than how you feel during sex. Like, because there were those times like I hooked up with a cute guy and like it was really good and I felt super good in that moment. But then, like I said, when they weren't texting me after and they were not giving a fuck about me. I felt super used. I felt like, why doesn't anyone want to be with me? And probably they didn't want to be with me because I was sleeping with them, like, and we didn't have any kind of connection. But I had this limiting belief back then that people didn't want to be with me, and that I should just, if I wanted to connect with them, that I should just sleep with them. But yeah. Anyways, back to about how sex is like this sacred exchange of energy. I like really started to see that and like believe that. And I was like, I can't be letting people enter my body. Like, my body is sacred to me now. Let me tell you, if I'm not putting gluten or dairy in my body or sugar, I'm not putting some random dude's dick in my body. No, not even a really cute one. Like, I want sex to feel like love. If I'm exchanging energy with somebody, I want it to be the energy of love. Like, imagine having sex with somebody that's not sure about you, and then you leave feeling unsure about yourself. I can't take that energy with me and do the things that God has called me to do. And I think like that's why the Bible talks about how like we should wait until after we're married to have sex. And I'm not waiting until I'm married, but like I am waiting until I feel like the person that I'm with is somebody I see myself marrying, because it is a sacred exchange of energy. And like, I'm not trying to exchange energy with somebody if I don't want to become like them, really. Like, in a past relationship, I was like noticing myself, like I was really committed to my personal growth, and he wasn't. And like, I was like, I saw his potential though, and I thought like, and I loved him, and like I knew he loved me, so I knew the energy, like the energy exchange was of love. But I also saw myself like starting to watch a lot of TV, starting to revert to old patterns that I like prayed myself out of, and like I was like, I gotta stop exchanging energy with this person. Like, and I like kept sending them YouTube videos about it, trying to get them to like grow into their highest potential so I could feel good about having sex with them. But I'm just sharing this with you because like your body and like your pussy is fucking sacred. And don't just be out here giving it to anybody. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I can't even believe I just shared all this stuff with you. But yeah, I feel like there was prostitutes in the Bible, right? And there probably would have been a lot more prostitutes in the Bible if like Cardi B had been in the Bible. If like we had all these songs about you want to see some ass, I want to see some cash in the Bible. If we had Backpage in the Bible, like if we had OnlyFans in the Bible, there would have been a lot more prostitutes in the Bible. So, but the thing is, the prostitutes in the Bible, God saved them. And I just want you to know, like, whenever you build this relationship with God, He can reveal to you your worth. Like, it won't be an overnight kind of thing where you just automatically are like, no, I'm healed and no one can enter my body and my body is sacred. And but like you gradually start to see that. You start to see your worth. And when you see your worth, like you look back and you're like, I can't believe I let them touch me, let alone like I had sex with them. But yeah, I think that if you're trying to manifest anything, like if you're trying, you have to heal your self-worth, because the universe isn't going to give you something if you don't believe that you're worthy of having it. And after doing all that shit, I really did have to heal my self-worth, because it took me down through there, like when I would over and over again have sex with people that I knew didn't care about me, and I was taking on these feelings of they don't care about me, so this must mean I don't care about me. And only after I healed my self-worth, like looking myself in the mirror and being like, I love you, bitch. I love you, bitch, no matter what you did in the past. I don't care if you was a prostitute. I love you and I forgive you. And you are worthy of so much more than you've been accepting in your life. Only after that was I able to manifest these experiences, these relationships where I feel really loved, and like where I feel seen, where I feel like they're not just using me for my body. Only after that was I able to like manifest random ass people giving me thousands of dollars to live out my purpose type shit. Like the healing the self-worth has to come first, because your self-worth is what, the way you feel about yourself is mirrored back to you in all of your life experiences. So back then I didn't feel worthy, and so like guys would approach me thinking that they could buy me, you know, like that there was a price tag on me. And like now people don't even approach me like that, because I've set this standard for myself, like in my mind, like nobody would even come at me like that. And also when they first were coming at me like that and I kept saying no over and over again, like that was teaching the universe how to treat me. Like, stop sending in these experiences. I'm passing the test. We don't do that shit. We ain't never going back to what we used to do. I'm not. And whenever you heal your self-worth, that's when the universe is going to give you what you deserve. But first you have to believe you're worthy of receiving it. And so yeah, I just really wanted to share this with you guys. I didn't really want to share this with you guys, but I knew like that God was telling me to. And if you're like, if you're out there selling yourself for money, know that you don't have to do that shit. That abundance is your birthright, and that all you got to do in order to receive it is believe it. And also, there might be some girls out there that aren't having sex for money, but maybe they're doing it for free with people that don't care about them. And I want y'all to cut that shit out too, because you are worthy of so much more, like so much more. And it really just breaks my heart to know that there's some past version of myself out there who doesn't see her worth. And yeah, I want you to know that I love you and that God loves you, and like no matter what you've done, like no matter how many people you slept with, no matter how much money you got for it, like that your worth isn't determined by your past experiences. It's determined by how you feel about yourself. And you can change that shit at any moment. You can just make the decision where I'm not doing this anymore. I deserve better than this. I deserve a man. I deserve to have sex with a man who loves me. And I deserve to experience love. Yeah. Okay. I forgot to share, because the name of the episode was From Selling It to Celibate, is that part of your healing journey might require you to be celibate. Because there was like a year and a half where I was completely celibate. I was thinking, God, do you want me to be a nun? If you want me to be a nun, just say that. And well, first off, there's lots of great toys out there. Second off, you don't need sex in order to feel good about yourself. And if it's not in that committed relationship, you could leave. If like you're out here fucking people in these situationships, you could leave feeling not good about yourself. And I just, don't do it. Don't do it. Your body is fucking sacred. You are worth so much more. Okay. I love you guys. And if this podcast episode helped you, or you know somebody that needs to hear this, share it with them, because I really think the more people that heal their self-worth, the more that we see like there is a way out of this life, the more people could decide that they deserve better, and like that can heal the world. Whenever you heal yourself, you heal your relationships, you heal what you believe you're deserving of having, and that's how you create a whole new life for yourself. And yeah, I want to get this message out there. I don't want to get this message out there, but I do want to get this message out there. If my little ego has to die in the process, I'm here for it, because I want you to know that God has a better life for you. Okay. I love you guys.